And we did a little yin for hips and hamstrings, and this Friday I thought that we would do a little yin for our upper shoulders and backs and necks and thorax, our thoracic region. So just find a few deep breaths here and noticing that we fill up lower, middle, upper, and exhale lower, middle, upper, so that we are balancing in Dirga Pranayama. We're balancing that prana throughout the body. And it's not staying in one place a little bit longer than others. So balancing the distribution of prana, balancing our breath, taking in deeper breaths, being aware of the breath, because we're often not taking as deep a breath as we should, or not slowing it down like we should. So making sure we're aware of that breath and taking the time this morning. And as we begin, just taking a nice deep stretch, now that we have our attention on our breath, take a stretch overhead and stretch the arms out nice and long overhead, as long as you possibly can in that beautiful deep cat stretch. And then reach through the right arm and right leg as long as you can. And relax the left. And then switch, reach through that left arm and left leg as long as you possibly can. And relax. And then take your arms and legs out into that 5-pointed star. Stretching out a little deeper and a little longer with those arms, just as if you had somebody tugging very gently on both your hands and your feet. Give a gentle tuck to the chin to maintain the integrity of the cervical spine. And continue with that awareness of the breath, and with each exhale, let your body soften a little deeper. Let your body relax and settle a little deeper. This can be a very vulnerable place for us, a very vulnerable asana for us to lie in. But a very beautiful place if we consider the ability here to let ourselves open up to possibilities. And that's what today is all about, opening up to possibilities. So open up today as you breathe in this place to the possibility that every breath that you take here contains the entire universe. So on that inhale, noticing the coolness of that inhale coming into the body. And on that exhale, noticing the warmth as it leaves your body. And if we can comprehend and fathom that that little bit of air that we take in on that inhale, that coolness, is all new prana, new energy, new air that contains the entire universe. And on that exhale, that warmth leaving the body is the fire of your ego. Warming that, connecting, moving past duality. Knowing that we can and are a part of something so much bigger here. Three more deep, deep breaths. Keeping in mind all the possibilities that you have before you in this new day. Last deep inhale and exhale. Very softly, very slowly, on an exhale, bringing the arms down to your sides. Bringing the legs slowly back into one another. Walk the feet up the mat and gently bring the knees into your chest. And just gently rock from side to side. Maybe roll the head from side to side, massaging out any little kinks we have in the shoulders, down into the sacrum, back of the skull. Full breaths, maybe taking a moment to wake up those feet and ankles by extending them straight to the sky and opening up the toes nice and wide, flexing the ankles, finding a little rotation in the ankles. Maybe even as you're lying, some rotation in the wrists. Knees back into the chest one more time. Find just a nice little squeeze. Maybe roll the forehead up to meet the knees. And then one last one before we come up to the seat is finding Ananda Balasana, happy baby. So just slipping the knees down on either side of the body, opening up those hips, finding the soles of the feet, maybe the backs of the knees, maybe the backs of the thighs, whatever works for your body. We're here in this space, just working some kinks out of the body in this early morning for us, and just giving a little massage to the spine. Giving a little movement to all the joints, allowing that synovial fluid to start to move and create and lubricate our joints. Check in with your playfulness in your happy baby. Maybe rolling all the way over to the right and let the core draw you all the way back to the left. Find a little playfulness this morning. Again, what are the possibilities laid out for you for your day? Can we find some playfulness in our world today? Can we find some playfulness in our own space this morning? Knees back into the chest. We can roll to our right side and gently, slowly, softly come up to a comfortable seat. And if you have a strap or not, maybe a towel works, a t-shirt works, whatever you might have handy to use this morning. And come up to Sukhasana, crossing the legs and sitting nice and tall. We're going to just get a nice little side stretch into the intercostals. So taking that left hand, walking it out a ways, inhale the right arm all the way up. Take a nice stretch. Reach first, gluing that right hip down. Reach all the way up through the fingertips, nice and long. And start to walk the body out on that exhale to the left. Pause a moment halfway into this. Just take a full inhale again. Maybe bend that left elbow. Maybe allowing the body to open up even deeper. We want to reach and stretch as long as we can here. Take 3 deep, big breaths to the body. Opening up the intercostal spaces here, giving us room for all that beautiful, sweet breath to enter our bodies. Inhale, slowly come up. We're going to switch it out. Right hand can walk out a ways. Left hand, nice long reach overhead. Walk it out. Exhaling all the way down. Keep the shoulders square. We don't want to dump in or backwards too far. So keeping those shoulders square, keeping the alignment here. Stretch. Maybe come up a little bit and take it even deeper. Get familiar with your own body. What works, what doesn't. What feels beautiful, what doesn't. Inhale back up through that center point. We're going to just take the hands out in front of us. Again, just upper body work today. So left hand out long in front of us, fingertips pointed to the sky. The right hand's going to come over top of it and just give a gentle press into the hands as they meet. A little strengthening and a little stretching all at the same time in that left arm. And then slowly point the fingertips down towards the earth. The palm of the right hand pressing against the back of the left. Just allowing for that little stretch again and strengthen of the left arm. And then let's switch it out. Right hand, palm away from you, making that connection with both palms pressing in with the right and in with the left. A nice little stretch all the way up into that right arm. And then fingers point downward and find a little stretch again. This is great exercise for someone with carpal tunnel. Really opens the back sides of the wrists that we don't often pay attention to. And then release. We're going to take that right arm and sweep it all the way across the body. Just find the left hand wrapping around that right shoulder. Just give it a little squeeze, but reaching, continually, steadily reaching with that right fingertip all the way across the body. Very gentle here, but take deep breaths. Any shoulder injuries at all, be gentle, be mild, be easy. Release, sweep the left arm across the body, right hand behind that left shoulder. Take a few breaths. And then releasing it. Inhale, arms up overhead. Hands join together in Anjali Mudra over top of the head. Draw the arms back on either sides of the ears if that's possible. Shoulder blades down the back. 3 deep breaths here. Sitting nice and tall, stretching through the spine. Stretching all the way up through those fingertips. Shoulder blades moving down the back. Exhale, hands to your heart center. 3 breaths that way. So we'll inhale, arms come up. Meet in the middle in Anjali Mudra. Exhale, palms down, away from the body. Inhale, maybe taking the gaze up if that's comfortable for your neck. Exhale, palms back down. Inhale, up. And exhale, back down. So lastly, before we use that strap, we're going to give ourselves that hug. So right arm on top of the left. Fold those elbows in And if this is enough for you, make sure we lift those elbows up away from the earth so that they're parallel to the earth. If this is all right for you, maybe take it a bit deeper and find those eagle arms. We just find the bind, maybe finding the thumb, elbows up, forearms away from the face, shoulder blades down the back. Take 3 deep breaths. Opening up the back of the shoulders, sitting in this space. Filling up that upper lung, opening up the upper back. And then release it. We'll inhale, arms up overhead, nice big reach. Palms connect in Anjali Mudra. Exhale, palms down at either side. 2 more. Inhale, big reach. And exhale. Last one, maybe taking that gaze up. And all the way to the earth. Inhale, we're gonna bring that left arm over the right this time. Elbows up, give that nice big squeeze if you choose. If eagle arms are there for you, find the bind. Palms can connect. If not, maybe just finding that thumb. Take the time and awareness to pull the forearms away from the body, lifting the elbows. We want to create space. Yin is about creating that space. Inhale slowly and deeply, feeling that space in the back. And when we create that space, we surrender into that space. So taking a few breaths, finding ease with resistance. Beautiful. Let's release. Finding that strap, we're just going to find a little movement before we go into any deeper movement with the shoulders. So taking the strap overhead and finding those goddess arms. So we've got our cactus arms. So we've got some tension on that strap. Just slight tension, taking the strap behind the head. Remember, sitting nice and tall. If you want and can, switch the cross in your legs. We've been seated that way for a while. Take a moment here, tuck the chin, and we're just gently going to move the arms from right to left, bending the elbows and straightening the elbows. Feeling that little tug across the back. We want equal pressure pulling away from the body, from the center line of the body with the hands. Just gentle bending at the elbows to start, strengthening those shoulders just a bit, and then coming back to a place where we start to open the arms up into straight arms. But again, nice tension here. Gently bringing the right arm up, nice and long, and switching it out. Left arm up. Just a little switch here behind us, taking it really easy with the shoulders. Just a few on either side. And then coming down, a little motion. Inhale, come up, arms come up nice and long, up overhead. Exhale, bring those arms back and the strap back behind you, lifting through the heart space. Inhale, come up. Exhale, bring those arms back down. One last time, inhale up. Exhale, back down. So we can release the strap, place it off to the side. I'd like for you to bring a blanket, bolster, or pillow, whatever is wide enough for your forearms to rest on, to the front of your mat. And we're going to come around to Barmanasana, our tabletop. And pause in Barmanasana this morning for just a moment. If you'd like to see where I'm headed with this, I want to show you, we're going to come into Bhujangasana, resting the upper back for a little bit, but then pressing back into Balasana, child's pose, but with our arms resting on top of that blanket so that we have some stretch in the shoulders. So let's come down on our bellies with that blanket or bolster close by or under us is where I would prefer it to be if it's comfortable for you. Find the elbows below the shoulders. Open the fingers nice and wide and take the hips long behind you. Open the legs wide. Typically, we bring the legs together in Bhujangasana, but we're focusing on the upper back today. So nice deep inhale all the way through the crown of the head. Press the shoulders back. Let your heart melt into the support of that blanket or that bolster, whatever you've created to support the upper back. Nice little back bend in Bhujangasana. Pause here. Again, breathing deeply. See if we can continue with that support, allowing the upper back to soften. Let the heart melt a little deeper towards the earth. Nice long spine. Gentle tuck of the chin. Maybe we've created enough space, we can draw the shoulders back a little further. Creating a bigger dip in that thoracic spine. Big, even rounds of breath. Maybe in your yin practice, connecting with Ujjayi breath. Helping us stay in these places for a few moments longer than we'd like. Calming the nervous system. Creating warmth in the body. If at any point here you'd like to let the head roll forward, let the neck and head roll forward, but keep that heart melting towards the earth. The shoulders back. Three more deep breaths. If it's available, moving into seal from here. This is a deep back bend. So we're just taking our hands out towards the corners of the mat on a diagonal 45-degree angle and pressing into the mat, lifting those elbows up. Straightening the arms out, lengthening through the crown of the head, pressing those shoulder blades down the back. If this pinches on the low back at all, come back down to the elbows. This is not meant to be painful. It's meant to get a nice back bend into the upper body from the lumbar spine all the way up. Maybe taking the gaze up. Paying attention to the low back and the hips, maybe taking the feet even wider if that's more comfortable, giving you space. Let the heart melt. Three more deep, even rounds of breath all the way in to the lowest part of the lungs and back up. Find gentleness as we lay ourselves down. As if you were laying your spine down like a string of pearls, one vertebrae at a time. Place the forearms on top of one another. Rest your third eye on the forearms in crocodile, taking the hips and just gently slipping them back and forth. Just a little rock from side to side as we lie here. And again, feeling the expansion across the low back as we breathe deeply into all those spaces. Very softly, very slowly, hands below the shoulders. We're going to bring our hips up through Barmanasana and back into child's pose, but leaving our forearms resting on that bolster or blocks or blanket in front of us. So we have some elevation to the forearms. Bring the heels back to the hips so they connect, or hips back to the heels. Stretch the arms out. Let your third eye rest either on the earth or the edge of that blanket. So again, here just noticing and breathing space. We should be getting a nice stretch across the shoulder blades and upper back. If that's too much for you, feel free to come into a traditional child's pose without the support under the arms. Just adds to a little extension through the upper back and allows us to expand that space. Knees wide in child's pose if that's comfortable. If not, knees together. Explore. See what works best in your body. Give yourself 3 more deep inhales and exhales here. Lift it gently and slowly slide that blanket off the mat or whatever support you've chosen underneath the arms. And then come back down, walking the arms back out, resting the third eye on the mat. Maybe taking the knees wider. Finding a little stretch in the low back. Let's walk the upper body over to the left side. So we have the left and right arm outstretched nice and long. Keep the hips at the heels. Keep them glued to the heels so we can get a nice stretch through the right side body again. Walk the hands slowly back to that center point. Pause at the center point. Maybe taking the arms out further, coming maybe up on the fingertips. Finding those deep, beautiful breaths up on our fingertips. Yin is about getting into all those places that we don't have the opportunity to get to. Breathing into that space, allowing for surrender and ease. Teaching us to breathe through resistance. Finding comfortable spaces in those moments. Take your time here, walking all the way over to the right side now. Stretching through the left side body and left shoulder. Keeping the hips back at the heels. Even stretch. This time of isolation, we spend so much time online, so much time looking down at phones or laptops. It's nice to get some deep stretching into the back of the neck and the shoulders. Slowly walking it back to that center point. Take the hands behind you now and just allow the palms to come up. Resting the shoulders, relaxing the body. Take just a couple of breaths here. Slowly walking our way all the way back up, taking a seat on our heels in Vajrasana this morning, that thunderbolt position. And just pausing, allowing the spine to allow itself to get used to being upright for a moment. Maybe removing that flesh from the sit bones as we come up. Letting the shoulders relax down the body. Coming forward for just a moment and just tucking the toes underneath. Spread the toes wide. Coming back down on them. We won't stay here very long. And coming back to that seat on the heels. So one of my students so appropriately named this fire toes. And it's just a beautiful place to sit for a few moments, stretching out the toes, stretching out the arch, stretching out the ball of the foot. And what we don't always realize is we do build calcifications on our pineal gland and pituitary gland. And by seating ourselves in this posture for a few moments, as long as is comfortable, assists in taking away and decomposing those calcifications in that space of the brain. So nice, long, even breaths if you can. Finding ease and resistance. When it's a little too much for you, slowly coming forward at any point and just tapping out the tops of the feet slightly. And then coming back to the sit bones. Find Dandasana, that long spine, that long staff pose, so we can untuck the flesh again. Point the toes to the sky, just sitting nice and tall. Find a blanket, bolster, blocks. Build yourself a little nest. Even if you have the ability in Paschimottanasana, that forward fold, to allow yourself to come all the way down, I would like for you to build yourself just a little bit of a comfort on top. So just pillows, blankets. We want to rest the upper back and body here. So inhale, nice long spine, arms overhead again. Exhale, slowly coming forward. And just rest the forearms on top for a moment. Pause here. Take a breath. Soften the low back. Inhale, core engaged. Come up one more time. Nice long reach through the spine. Exhale, come forward again. Maybe a little deeper at that point. One last time. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, drape that string of pearls, your spine over top of that support. Maybe fold the arms, rest the third eye here. So we have a beautiful arch we've created from the tailbone all the way up through the crown of the head. Breathe up and down the spine, beautiful deep breaths. Remembering Dirga Pranayama, breathing slow and deeply. Let's very slowly, hands at your sides, and stacking the vertebrae one at a time with the head coming up last. Moving those props off to the side for the moment. We're going to come back to our backs slowly and gently, but before we come all the way back to our backs, I invite you to find one more heart opener of sorts by taking a blanket and finding just a little fold, maybe 3 or 4 inches, and placing that up under the shoulder blades. Another blanket or bolster or blocks on the right side of your mat. And slowly find your way to the earth. Resting the shoulder blades on that little support you've created and extending the arms out wide if that's comfortable. Again, take the feet wide. Maybe even allow a little space by taking the arms up overhead in cactus arms, lifting and opening the chest even deeper. All options. Choose what's right for your body and breathe. Gentle tuck of the chin, just allowing deep, beautiful breaths to open up the front of the sternum, open up the front of the body. Remembering those long, deep breaths. Take a moment here and slowly rolling to your right or left side and just slip that blanket out from under the body, that support out from under the body, and off to the side. Come back to your backs, flat on your back. Pause here. Take a gentle breath or two. I'd like to find one more twist on either side of the body. I know we'll run just a couple minutes over, but we started a couple minutes behind, so give ourselves that time for nourishment this morning. Walk your feet up, bend the knees. We're going to find one more twist on either side of the body for just a few moments. So bringing the knees into the chest, find a squeeze. Feet can come back to the floor. We're going to lift our hips and shift them to the left side of the mat and lower the knees all the way over to the right side, resting on that prop that you've left, that blanket, that bolster. Extend that left arm out long at your side. Right hand on top of that left leg. If it's comfortable, rolling the head to the left. And practice Dirga Pranayama. So breathing all the way in, all the way down to the lower lung, carrying prana all the way down to the lower part of the body, and exhaling from that same space, feeling the slight shift and movement maybe in the spine as everything settles into its own space. Give yourself another breath or two here. Very gentle, very soft. Allow the head to come back to center very slowly. Taking the right hand, scoop the knees up from the right side, core engaged to protect the low back. Draw the knees into the body. Find that gentle squeeze again into the body. Place the feet down on the mat. Shift the hips all the way over to the right side of the mat. Bring your blanket or support item over to the left. And lower the knees down on the left side of the mat. Find that left hand acting as a little anchor on the right knee. Let that right arm walk out nice and long beside you. Let your head roll to the right. Bringing everything out with the breath. Head back to center. Scoop the knees up with the left, core slightly engaged to protect the spine. Draw the knees back into center. Find that squeeze. Gently placing the feet on the earth, shifting your body back to the center of your mat. Take a big cat stretch as long as you can. Lengthen the spine as long as you can. Stretch the fingers, the toes. Let the arms come down on that exhale slowly beside you. Palms up. Let the feet flop open at the end of your mat. Maybe taking the feet out a little wider than normal. Maybe not. See what feels best for you this morning. Take a full inhale into the body and an open mouth exhale out. Deep inhale in. Open mouth exhale. One more big inhale. Open mouth exhale. Relaxing the eyes. Softening the jawline. Softening the tongue, the shoulders, the arms, the fingers. Each exhale, letting you surrender to the support of the earth, softening the spine, the hips, the quads, the calves, all the way down into the toes. Resting the next few moments in Shavasana. Breathing naturally without intention. Knowing that still every breath coming in has particles of everything within this universe, carrying all the energy in on that breath. Exhaling and surrendering our bodies, our minds, and our spirits to all the possibilities that await. Very slowly invite in prana to the fingers and toes. Find those gentle movements. Take a stretch if you need, as you invite in a deeper breath to the body. Rolling to your right side this morning, curling up in the fetal position, resting your head and your right arm, just allowing another moment or two to rest. I have a quote that I'd like to read to you this morning. It's by Dr. Steve Maraboli. This new day has greeted us without rules. Unconditional opportunity. Do not dilute the power of this new day with the hardship of yesterday. Greet this new day the way it was greeted, the way it has greeted you, with open arms and endless possibilities. If you would like to press your way up into a comfortable seat, take the time to bring your hands in together in Anjali Mudra. Bow your head. Find a smile on your lips this morning. And just think for a moment about the possibilities that await you today. Take a moment to honor the time you have on your mat to practice, to breathe, to begin your day this way. I thank you, ladies, so very much for joining me this morning. In love, light, and awareness, I honor each of you. Namaste. Have a beautiful, beautiful, blessed rest of your day. Let me